Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of
Shrink the State Podcast.
I'm Justin.
I'm Will.
I'm James.
And we are here on another beautiful day. It's a Thursday evening. We are here again with our beverages. Let's open these up today, folks. You go first. Oh, that's nice. Nice one, William. How about you, James?
Right.
And what do you have? What is that?
I have the exact same thing.
Exact same thing he had last two times.
Exactly. Well, no, just the last time.
William's got a Pepsi, and I also have a nice,
Yeah, you're welcome for that Pepsi.
Yeah.
beautiful Pepsi.
What was that?
Huh? What? Was that a fourth can opening?
See.
Who is this?
It was a fourth. And, I'm Jacob.
His name is Jacob. He is going to be joining us today as a special guest on this podcast. You might hear him again. You might hear him in the future.
From what I could tell, he definitely is.
You'll hear him on future podcasts, most likely. Today, our topic is the bias of the media.
So, from what I understand, is Jacob, you're a communist, right?
100%.
He's a dictator.
Wait, I forgot.
Like he's even wearing that red.
Are you gonna finish your McDonald's burger?
I am
kinda
beginning
want it.
my
That sounds horrible.
personal intro of my name is Jacob. Look me up. And I'm going to start this
Look
podcast.
him up. Just type in Jacob on Google.
I'm
And
gonna,
it's him.
I'm gonna start this podcast with you guys knowing me for the first time by eating it for you.
That is absolutely disgusting.
Lovely.
I don't want headphone users. Beware. Unless you're into that, I don't know.
Sorry, guys.
It's cold McDonald's, baby.
Cold McDonald's. All right.
Disgusting.
This sounds horrible. All right, so I guess we're gonna have some basic things we're gonna be talking about today. Obviously, the bias of the media is gonna be the topic. William, touch base on some of the things we're gonna talk about today. Some of the topics.
Sure. So, I'd like to touch base on a little bit about the bias of actually internet web
Let's
browsers.
base touch, yes.
So, Google. Thanks, James. Google is actually pretty left bias.
No way.
It is kind of.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
We're gonna touch base on Jussie Smollett. That was a huge thing that just recently happened.
Jussie, that's a
Brett
weird.
Jussie.
Kavanaugh, whatever. I don't care if I butcher their names. They're all libtards. I'm kidding. White people. Actually, why did I write down as a note? I don't get it.
Because white people are racist, sexist, KKKs.
I
The
guess
media
so.
bias for white people.
White
Especially if you're a
people.
white
You gotta say
man.
it with disdain. White people. Okay, Donald Trump
least they're
and
not.
of course Justin Trudeau.
Of course, Justin
Oh,
Trudeau.
and wait, no, there's that native incident with the guy with the mega hat smiling.
Yes.
the
That's a
Covington
good
case,
one.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Covington.
Covington High School.
Covington? Covington.
Covington, my bad. Do you mind? All right, so let's talk about the first one there. What do you have? Oh my word, guys.
You take a sip.
That was a double, by the way, for anyone that was paying attention. That was the first. No, that's the second double. Second. But it was the first. It
I
was the
choked on that.
Not surprised.
first. I don't want to know what you
have
choked on. Let's just keep it
experience.
PG here.
Anyway.
So the first thing I guess we'll talk about is bias of internet search engines. So Google, the headquarters of Google, I think, what is it, LA or something like that? It's in like a left-centered state.
Not sure. You should
Headquarters?
really bring that up, Jamie.
Most
Yeah,
likely
yeah,
California.
Let me just look that up. real
Jamie?
Fill it up, Jamie. You're the new Jamie Williams.
Well, my guess was that it'd be LA because YouTube's in LA, in California. I think it's in Burbank, I'm pretty sure. So with all the other social medias, they're all in California. Which
Probably fine.
I'm not sure if you guys know those Canadians out there, but it's a very democratic state. Very democratic.
Well, you know,
Yeah,
big tech.
it is. Okay. It looks like Googleplex, the corporate headquarters complex of Google and its parent company Alphabet Incorporated, located at California, United States, Silicon Valley's capital, San Jose, something like that.
Silicon
It's okay
Valley,
for-
baby.
Okay.
You
Its
know what that
location
means?
its location is
Silicon
irrelevant
titties.
as long as the question is really who's taking the money and who's giving the money and exactly why it winds up that way. Like you could be based in Texas and still have a right wing left wing bias. Sorry.
That's fair. But
They seem to
can't-
culminate. Oh, they seem to culminate in one area for sure.
They do.
and honestly, this is the easiest thing to prove. The bias of Google. Like, just research
Type in Donald Trump.
Like, just
Find a good article about him. It won't exist.
Donald Trump, Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder.
Any hard right wing.
anything.
Hard, not even.
Gavin
Hard.
McInnes.
Joe
Proud
Rogan's
Boys.
classical liberal.
Yeah, they call him
Yeah,
a
but-
Nazi.
Yellow vests.
It's
Some-
ridiculous.
some though.
Google is so biased. If you want an unbiased search, at least what I think is an unbiased search, go to DuckDuckGo. It's really gaining popularity recently. You put it on your phone, you can put it on your computer,
This
and
a
research
sponsorship?
anything. It's not, but we could be sponsored.
Hey,
Wink,
Wink, wink.
I don't know if you pay
DuckDuckGo.
money, but if you do, I'm willing, baby.
Yeah.
Since he's not a regular member, he only gets half. Just letting you guys know.
That's actually
Hey.
not bad. I'll take that any day. Is
I
that a
meant half.
royalty?
Yeah.
So if you Google something in Google and search it again at DuckDuckGo, you see the difference. Anything political, it's a huge difference. DuckDuckGo gives you both sides. Google will only give you one side. It'll only give you the left argument. Like, it's just
Jacob fell off the couch. I don't know
No,
how.
I'm trying to get closer to the mic. Oh, it's
are you too comfortable?
sagging in the middle though.
But what about Quant?
What?
Quant.
Want?
Yeah, I 100% know everything about that.
How about we
Definitely.
even just touch on
For
YouTube?
sure.
I have never once
Call it out,
in my
Jamie.
entire life, I have
Spell
never
that.
seen Steven Crowder in the trending page, Ben Shapiro in the trending page, Milo Yiannopoulos in the trending page. How many millions and millions, probably tens of millions of views do they have combined? Not
Not
once
as
have I
many
seen
as
that.
Unless they're
HuffPo,
blaming
baby.
them. They will be if they're blaming them for being Nazis or whatever.
Yeah,
If it's not about a negative spin
I
on it.
remember at one point I went to YouTube, the trending page. It was all late night talk show hosts, and by the way, guys, 99% of late night talk show hosts are far left, extremely liberal. So I saw him like, oh,
Yeah, but
Jimmy
100%.
Kimmel talking about Trump, James Corden talking about Trump. What's that face? That British
What's that
dude.
face?
That
Oh,
British- what's
John
his name?
Oliver.
John Oliver talking about Donald Trump.
Something all over.
And they've got a one-track mind,
Jamie
too.
Oliver.
It's just Trump's bad, another Trump joke. I got tired of it after the first 2 weeks. It's just...
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'll laugh if the joke is funny. It's getting old.
Well,
It's not
and even
funny.
for some the conservative media stuff like Steven Crowder, like sometimes the conservatives just get really repetitive with their jokes too, and I just get bored. Like I'm not gonna, it's kind of
It's-
Are you
They're
talking about gay
buzzwords,
jokes?
What are gay jokes? Turn the frickin' frogs gay.
gay.
Anyways,
But, yeah, Quant's biased.
Quant.
Yep.
What is that?
It's another search engine that doesn't track you,
oh,
I totally knew that.
but... Or so they claim. But it is biased, so...
is it an open source?
Can we validate that?
Quant is an open source, but DuckDuckGo
how, do
definitely
you,
is.
how do you spell it?
QWANT. I used it for the longest time. And then I compared it with DuckDuckGo, and I got better results on DuckDuckGo. Better, more impartial results. But you can test it. You can definitely test it.
And how about when we're adding about the bias of social media? I want to add this.
Sure.
How many left-wing people have been banned off Twitter?
0.
You could probably count on one hand.
Even though some of them are like, we should kill all men or put them in concentration
We should
camps.
kill Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Make
We should
open
execute Ben
threats.
Shapiro.
Check with Yahoo admin.
Open threats.
Yeah.
And it's just like, huh,
And also Gavin McInnes
live
would be
and
like,
let live.
you know what? I don't really like this thing that they're pushing. Get a strike. Copyright
That's
strike.
not right. That's not factual. You're done.
Yeah. Do you know how much copyright strike Steven Crowder has? I saw it on
Hey,
his Instagram.
guess what?
It was like 90% of his videos are copyright striked, which means he can't make money off advertising on those.
Son of a gun.
And it's like, bro, are you kidding me? For what? What is it that he said?
I mean, I think the same thing happened here where we can't make money off of this podcast. You know?
oh, yeah. It did.
All our funding is cut now
Exactly.
because we had millions coming in.
Yeah.
So please go to my GoFundMe page. I need $10 million for sound equipment.
Please help me. I'm desperate.
Please, and I need to pay off my credit card debt.
Yeah.
And I need money too. No particular reason. I'm just a lazy fat.
Fill in the blank.
Well, honesty, right?
Honesty is the best policy. Yeah. So
it
social
looks like-
media, I'd say that people getting banned off Twitter, getting banned off YouTube. Alex Jones, Milo Yiannopoulos, Gavin McInnes. Can you guys think of any other examples? Those are the ones that come off the top of my head.
Actually, yes. I can think of several other
Sure,
examples.
let's-
Sargon over Cod.
Yeah,
oh, Sargon. Oh, I miss Sargon, man.
Do you?
Just kidding. I still watch his YouTube like all the time.
There's actually a few people that I know with I believe ESO, DAPS, and Filthy have all been hit. Possibly. I'll have to
Filthy
double check.
Frank. And Sargon, so his was Patreon, right?
Well-
Because there's an incident where he had an interview on.
I don't know them, but I watch them. Just want to make that clear.
Yeah. So I'm a bit of a fan of Sargon. So what he did is that he had been on someone else's YouTube channel, and they interviewed him. On the interview, he was talking to this person about I believe it was just I can't remember the topic off the top of my head, but in the context he had said that they were being white N-words. So it was obviously he was being hyperbolic. It wasn't clearly
He basically said, like, you're acting the same way that you're blaming black people of acting.
Yeah.
You're acting like a bunch of.
But he had to say it. Like,
Yeah.
there are certain things.
Yeah.
There are certain ways of. You say things certain ways that become off as more emphatic. Mm-hmm. Like if he hadn't said a bunch of white
N-word.
N-words, and in case you're wondering what the N-word is, it's Nutella, which is horrible. Just
Actually,
terrible.
the word is
Oh! Did you just say
no.
Oh my gosh!
Whoa!
You can't say on here.
Whoa!
James.
William!
So many ducks
Dude,
today.
that's a
Quack.
So many
Okay,
ducks.
so Sargon of
Akkad.
Akkad, he's on YouTube.
Akin.
Acme.
Hey, is that, what do you call them? A Willianism or something?
A William.
Williamism.
William. Sargon of Akkad.
Akkad, or whatever it is.
Arkad.
YouTube. Okay. Anything else you guys want me to search about this?
Oh, yeah, but what I wanted
Well,
to say
no,
about
I
him.
actually have. Go ahead.
No, yeah, what I want to say about him was that basically Patreon, not just Patreon, but pretty much all these companies will have their terms of use and the privacy policy and all these things that, like, this is our grounds. If you break these grounds, we will defund you or we'll take you off our platform. Which, for the people that are screaming on the far right that they're not allowed to do that, that's freedom of speech. They're allowed to do that. It's a private company. They're allowed to do whatever.
No, but
they are. They can have rules. Just like if I was at a job, I'll just say I worked at McDonald's and I called someone an N-word and I started yelling at a customer calling them retarded. I said retarded.
Well, it depends who's getting
retarded.
It all depends. Who's
They
getting
can fire
subsidies.
me. They can fire me if it's within their policy, and that's something that I
for
break.
sure, but it's their platform, but it's not in their policy. You say they said.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I wasn't done yet. Yeah.
Oh,
So I was going to continue there. So they have their privacy policy, and within that, there was a category of hate speech, which let's be real, how loosely is that defined?
Okay.
And then,
Probably
but the thing was,
whoever
it was yeah, lots of editing in this.
What
one.
word was that?
James, quit saying the word.
Are you 5?
So many ducks.
You sound like a duck.
Anyways,
a weird
sorry,
language.
James, you were gonna say something before someone said the N-word.
Wasn't me, man. Wasn't me.
No, you were actually gonna say something.
I mean, I didn't say the N-word. It was totally a quack.
Oh, awkward.
okay.
Everyone else heard the quack.
Yeah,
Right.
everyone listening to this podcast will just hear beautiful quacks.
I was just saying, like, if you get subsidies from the government and they're basically paying you to, and it's a big circle. Didn't want to
We
finish
gotta
that.
think of cleaner ways to talk, guys.
If
Like
it's-
not saying the N-word. Let's start with that.
Wait, how do you do that?
Just don't go near bridges is all. No, I mean, if there are subsidies.
I'm very confused. I'm so confused, Sean.
Anyway, sorry.
If someone's receiving subsidies, right,
Yeah.
and they're being paid out by the government, then they no longer then they're just a public utility. They no longer have a say because they're not private companies anymore. They're literally being paid by the government to stay alive.
true.
But
Joe
that's
Rogan
not
was
necessarily
making that
true, though. I don't. Okay, so pretty much every company out there gets subsidies, and even people, personal individuals, get tax breaks, which are basically subsidies. And like our school in Canada, at least, is subsidized by the government, probably 50 to 60%. So, I mean, the school here is a little different, but all I'm saying is, like, a subsidy doesn't automatically mean you are part of the government. The government gives out subsidies in order to help things flourish. So I don't see how a private company, like I own a company, it's just me, so it's very small, right? But like, I would never want people to say like, I need to do this because I'm so successful. It's like if people went to Walmart and said, you need to carry this specific brand of toilet paper because my butt cheeks need supple wiping, you know, and
No, not
because they're so successful that everyone uses them, and now no one has a choice to go anywhere else. It's like that's not their fault that they're that successful. It is kind of their fault, but they did it very strategically, and they did a very good job that they're that successful.
Walmart? We're talking about Walmart?
No, I'm just saying because Walmart is probably as successful as like Facebook. And
I
stuff
do have
like
information on that. They are getting huge handouts just to stay around.
that. Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you're getting paid that much by the government, you don't really count as a private business anymore. Like, if you're getting paid by the government, then you're basically just another arm of the government. Like, here's the thing, right? If you're in business, say you're Walmart, you can do anything you want. You can get away with anything because the government's going to pay you no matter what. How is that fair to competitors? At all?
Well, if competitors ever reach that point of success, they'll get the same subsidies and stuff like that.
But they couldn't.
I disagree with like subsidies as a whole. Anyways, I just think that if a company's good, it's gonna succeed. If it's crap, it's gonna fail, and you should just probably leave it alone.
If it's failing and you throw money at your problem, this goes for lots of things in politics.
The government's
throwing money at a problem does not fix the problem.
It
do know
usually
that
makes the
100%.
problem bigger.
We do know that every
For
few
longer.
thousand regulations creates, was it a 10% dip in? Yeah. Anyway, it's a minus 0.5% job growth when they create a lot of regulations like that.
Right. I
But
actually
back
put
to-
up some interesting. Sorry.
Let's go back to like, is Facebook or Twitter anything like that? Is that a public service now, or is it still a private entity?
I do think it's private. I just need to be honest about their policies.
I agree with
Should be able
that.
to file a lawsuit and have them fix their policy and say we're a left-leaning company.
Well, obviously, I'm in favor of giving government as much power as I would give my worst enemy, right?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want them to
for
have
sure.
power to moderate the internet. But I do want them to stop giving subsidies so that these people can fail. Because, let's face it,
I agree.
no one
with
likes
this.
Facebook. No one likes Twitter. No one likes YouTube. Why are they still around?
I like YouTube.
I like you too.
I like YouTube a lot.
But the thing is, like,
awesome.
even to tie this back to
I
what I
waste
was,
so much time on YouTube.
yeah, me too. The thing that I was originally talking about was Sargon. So with Patreon, right? So the very specific policy they had is that you cannot speak. I'm what's it called when you're
What's this?
fifth
person?
a fifth
Has entered
person.
Just kidding. It's
No.
just James again.
Well,
with
I'm
another
actually
drink.
big enough to be two people, so I can open up a can twice.
Pull it up, Jamie.
You're just a glutton.
Yeah, exactly. But basically, with this
actually-
law, I was gonna say subquoting. What's the word when you're paraphrasing? Wow, that's what it is. Subquoting, same thing. Paraphrasing what the
Paraquoting.
paraquoting.
Oh, nice.
But basically, what I was saying is that,
That should
if
actually
you
be the way to say it.
if you use hate speech on their platform, that they can deplatform you. It wasn't on Patreon.
Yeah.
It wasn't even on his YouTube account. It was on someone else's account on their YouTube, not even on their Patreon.
Did you file a massive complaint though?
He did, yeah.
Cool.
He sent them a massive email. They responded with some stupid response that was basically saying they're trying to trick around and saying you did breach the policy or this policy. They didn't point to which one.
Okay, so
they
let's-
just said he used hate speech, but he said that wasn't on your platform.
Okay, so let's say this though. If SO, like gasoline stores, if the owner of an SO sees someone walk in and they haven't specifically outright broken any of their laws, or any of their laws, any of their like code of conduct or anything like that,
Sure.
do you think they should be able to kick them out if they feel like they're a little sketchy?
100%. I've done it
but
at my job.
So shouldn't Twitter be able to do something like that?
Well, we don't kick them out. We don't.
I'm not
it depends, right?
necessarily. I'm not even necessarily arguing that's how it should be. I'm just saying, like,
I think companies should be able to not serve someone if they have proper grounds for it. But the thing is, even with the place that I worked at, it's a retail job. We have sketchy customers coming in every single
No.
day. Today we had like 10 come in that we had to watch.
not in downtown Winnipeg.
No, definitely not. But basically, we had to watch these customers, and we'll just call in the headset. Oh yeah, this person looks sketchy. We'll kind of follow them around, make sure they're doing okay. If they will be things like they have a massive bag with them. This lady had like how big was it? A big microwave. That was the size of her bag.
It was a box.
It was a big box carrying around. It said microwave on it. No, and then I'm like, all right, that's a really large bag. She had a very large coat that was opened, and open jackets people like to stuff things in. And she was looking around a lot, and I'm like, okay, this lady's clearly trying to steal something.
Yeah.
So we're following. Most likely, she looked like it. But we would watch her, and then she ended up not stealing, probably because she saw that there's 4 people staring at her the whole time she was there, and usually stops them from doing it. But the thing is,
She saw the big burly man of Justin and said, "Oh, I can't do this."
yeah. The thing is, obviously, legally for lots of these retail companies, you're not actually allowed to touch the people. That's not you can get. I mean, they'd sue the company.
Wait, you can't
completely sue them.
first up throw them on the ground.
No.
And handcuff
So
them.
obviously we had
You can make a citizen arrest. Though.
You could, but we could do that if I was shopping there. But as a company, they could get in trouble. So for people that know retail, we had it.
Citizens arrest. Can you club them in the face?
No, we had an LPO, which is like a private officer that would walk around. He can make those arrests, and we can technically kick people out,
Okay,
but we have
okay.
to have really good reason for
Let's
that.
bring this back though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, what I was just going to say is like, I agree they should be honest, but I don't agree that someone makes them honest. I don't agree that the government or anyone else should make a private company do or say specific things, because that's exactly what we're fighting against.
Yeah.
At this-
If like when they did ban Sargon of Akkad, I'm pretty sure what's the Patreon or whoever pays them, I think their stock went down considerably, or people boycotted it basically because they disagreed. So in the final result, if there was another pay system that would be good enough to compete with Patreon, people would just start going to that.
Yeah,
right?
and that's
Well,
exactly what he did.
The problem is Patreon pulled it because of PayPal, right? Several credit card several credit card companies are trying to cut down on that and trying to clamp down on people's purchases already. So, I mean, how can you compete if the sources of income are being restricted?
Yeah. So.
But that's again, PayPal is its own. Again, it's a private company, so
True.
There's gonna have to be another company that can compete, that people have an option to go to,
So
which there are.
I'm
but
not
as big, right?
We do know though that Facebook has cooperated with the government in places like China and stuff.
Yeah.
So we do know that they are basically extended branches of whatever government is in power. So if they're acting on behalf of the government, why would we possibly consider them private? Also, I'm not in favor of putting restrictions on things. I don't want government to put restrictions. Government needs to release the restrictions. They need to release the subsidies, deregulate a bit, allow competition in.
You know what they need to do?
The big companies to
Shrink
fail.
the state.
Shrink the
Got 'em.
state.
Dab on him.
Well, exactly.
You
right.
guys can't
So,
tell, but I'm
I
dabbing.
was gonna say, as libertarians, I guess
Dab
we all
on
have-
them horse.
We all have a bit of a libertarian view on the government. To what extent, I think varies for all of us. But I think we all agree on this point. The government needs to stay out of the business. And good job, Justin. And
Like white trash.
and then when Twitter does something incredibly stupid like that,
beer.
they should just be allowed to go out of business. They should be allowed to die. The company
What?
should.
Oh, sorry, I was not listening.
But you're talking
We're
about
not.
names.
Anyways, but I have to finish off the bias of the search engines and social media.
Yeah, let's finish up this point in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. I have an article up here about how that works. So human input into algorithms can be expected to favor the leftist worldview. So if it's a leftist culture at Google, and when you're creating the algorithms, you're not specifically trying to be biased, but your worldview, when you're making algorithms, will have it kind of geared to that
Skewed to
direction.
that, yeah.
Right? It's not that they're trying to be biased. They're just
Yeah.
a very leftist environment, and they're all diverse and so that. So when they're making the search engine algorithms, like so, for example, when I type "woman are" in the Google search engine, the first suggestion I get is "women are always right" and stuff like that.
What?
And obviously
That
that's
definitely
not,
ain't true.
The algorithm. Here's the thing: the Google algorithms use something called neural net learning, or deep net learning, or something like that. I forget what it is.
Neural
Like,
network
it-
is.
It'd probably be neural
So
network.
it teaches
.NET
itself.
setup. Mhm.
So all you have to do is have a slight bias, and then Google kind of teaches itself, and it kind of programs itself to get better.
Yeah.
And you got a huge bias problem.
I
when
wish
comes
it
to-
didn't have tailoring. Like, to tailor its search results towards.
Oh, I was thinking like tailoring, like fixing a suit.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I wish it didn't fix my suits.
Well, Google, we know
But-
Google's in the pocket of the government. I mean, that's not even too hard to find.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we've wrapped up that point. I think we want to get to the MAGA hat
Oh,
incident.
real quick,
Oh,
so
go
back
ahead.
now on the
a
mainstream.
10% increase in regulation leads to a 0.5% decrease in overall firm births. So
Oh,
What I'm
less
saying is-
companies being made, baby.
I'm saying, and then this doesn't affect medium to large companies. So all the regulations that come out every year, and you can see they're like this thick, those are keeping out businesses, like small businesses, from even
Yeah.
starting. I mean, the statistics are there. It's ridiculous. Small companies don't even stand much of a chance. So as long as it's like that, it's tough for anyone to actually compete.
Like, the hierarchies are inevitable.
Oh, hey, Peter.
hierarchies are
My name's
I
Peter
mean,
Jordanson.
Peter Jordan, you know what, Family Guy?
Peter
You can pay us for that one.
Hey, Peter. Oh, wait, I'm Peter.
Hey, Joe.
Oh, hey, Joe. Hey, Peter.
Oh yeah, Yahoo, Bing.
Hey,
Bing is with Google, and Yahoo
Who uses Bing?
is.
Who uses Yahoo?
80-year-old women.
I'm just saying, these don't use those search engines either. DuckDuckGo is pretty much the way to go for now.
Yeah. So, other bias in the media is
The
the
mega hat
Covington.
incident.
Sorry, what is it called, James?
Oh, the Covenant
There's
Catholic
several
incident.
mega hat
Yeah.
incidents.
The white kid. Have you ever seen such a punchable face?
Yeah.
Actually, yes. I have seen punchable faces before.
Oh, we're not saying this is. Okay. No, but there is something to talk about, and that is
Who did I
How-
said had a punchable face to his face? Well, someone I didn't like, and I said he had a punchable face.
yeah.
But I can't remember who it was. God,
It was the Covington kid.
It was important too because it was on a political debate.
So
Yeah.
this blew up all over mainstream. I guess we're talking about mainstream media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This blew up all over mainstream media when it happened. It came out. There were these kids. I don't know what were they doing there. This group of kids.
Oh, they
Well-
were at an abortion anti.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The pro-life
March-
thing.
March for Life?
600,000 people or something.
Not that one.
Not that one though.
No,
it
that was a
was
different one.
tied off. It because this was in Washington, I believe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
So-
cool.
In front
Pull
of
that
a
A
something.
Catholic. Yeah, it's in front of whatever.
In front of something. Facts.
What's the case called?
Oh, it's
Some
the Covington
parliament
Catholic.
thing.
Covington.
Is that a
Catholic.
thing?
Yep.
Parliament is in Canada.
It's Coving.
I don't
I don't
care.
think it's in the U.S. at all.
Okay.
We run on
And then
a
just
parliamentary system.
I do have information on it. So what,
Oh,
what is
okay.
it that you need?
Well, I'm just gonna look up what the
Well,
location.
what I wanted to say first,
Covington Catholic High School.
no matter what your opinion is on anything, you do not deserve death threats from anyone. So this
I
kid,
agree.
how much thousands of death threats him and his family got from this?
And not just that, he looked smug. That was the worst thing he did. He didn't touch this guy
At all.
at all.
The guy was up right in his face.
And guess what? Well, no, even if they walked over to this Indian feller, well, I said that weird, but
Feller.
feller, but even if they walked up to him, he still didn't deserve to get punched because
You didn't do anything.
he didn't touch the guy
Well,
physically.
did you not see his white supremacist eyes?
Oh yeah, it's in the
Looking
eyeballs.
At,
He
if you
wanted
looked
to
at him,
lynch
you could see his racism.
I've actually met white supremacists. They're nothing like that.
Oh yeah.
Could you see
Can I-
their
I know
racism
5.
by looking at their face?
I
know
disagree with you,
5.
Justin. By the way, I think you do deserve to get. You say no one deserves death threats. If you actually are
Unless you're
literally
Hitler.
Hitler,
Literally
Hey.
Hitler.
you stole my
Sorry, I didn't
idea.
know
How
you were
dare
going
you? Anyway, yeah. Unless you are literally Hitler, then you deserve to be punched in the face. Anyway,
So
the
Donald
Covington
Trump.
Catholic High School. So these kids were out at this protest, I guess, and
Yep.
these things called the Black Israelites.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
What?
yeah, they were there.
Yep, black Israelites. Yep.
They were there, but that wasn't the other group, was it?
It was the other.
Well,
group.
no, there were 3 groups there, right?
Oh, I didn't know.
We
that
have the
was true.
Covenant Catholic group that was there.
Yeah.
We do have some Native American protesters that were there. We also have the black Israelites that were there.
And let's be real, this all could have been set up. I'm not not even a joke by Russian troll farms. I'm not even joking.
Wait, what are you, Alex Jones?
No, this is a legitimate confirmed thing.
Frogs, yeah.
They put a Texas rally across from like a Black Lives Matter rally, and no one really leads them and stuff. Like this is confirmed.
Interesting.
This could actually be because they're very. You can tell they're very opposite ends.
I know that Aboriginal guy actually appeared at several other protests. Like he did this regularly.
Yeah, he did.
But anyway,
Which is fine. He looks old. He's probably retired, looking for some fun, you know.
Yeah. So these black Israelites
Fun
guy
night.
were yelling racial epithets, I guess, at these kids.
That man has a record. What was his name? He does have a record.
Yeah, let's see if I can
Bring that up.
Pull it up, Jamie.
bring that up, Jamie. I didn't know his name.
He's a veteran. I do know that.
Nope, he's not. He pretended to be a
pretends to
veteran.
be.
Yeah, I thought he. I
All
think
these
he
guys
lied.
on the
or
chats,
something.
on these chat forums,
Well, no,
that are
people will
actually from
say
the
he-
military. He's like, what is he talking about? I've never heard of that position.
I heard that. No, at first I heard that he was in a very small position where help. But anyways, it's not really the more important thing.
Right.
The thing is, there was a statement that was released after, because if you guys keep up with anything politics, you probably heard this incident about the Native American. So the kid's name was Nathan Phillips. That was the name of the boy.
Punchable.
At the Fridays, they said that he was participating in Friday's Indigenous Peoples March. He wasn't there for that. But this is a statement that he gave later on. I want to read you guys a statement. It'll take a minute here, but I want to read this.
Oh!
Shouldn't we get to the part
Oh,
where
I
he
should have.
actually
I should
got
have
the
mentioned
incident
Steven
first?
Crowder when we were talking about the media, like earlier on, like when we were talking about our COD. As he says, our kid, was it?
Arcade.
Our kid.
Because
Sargon
Crowder,
of
I was just
Arcade.
watching him the other day. I was watching the Steven Crowder stream of the of the Oscars.
The Oscars, yeah.
and I was there when the stream got shut down by ABC.
Really?
Yep.
So what did
And-
they do?
Well, they didn't like what he was making fun of them the entire time.
Yeah, exactly.
They shut him
Which they
down,
should have reason to.
and there's no
Because it's
legal
stupid.
reason to do it. So today he's actually streaming with his lawyer friend, his
Nice.
Asian lawyer
The
friend.
Asian guy. He's been on before.
And
Yeah,
Crowder was
Asians.
so ticked off. He swore a lot in that particular stream.
What a sucker.
They moved it over to Facebook because they had to be off YouTube for a bit. But they are suing. They are definitely
Yeah.
suing
Well,
because
and they
there was
sued
no
before.
cause.
They countersued before.
There was no cause for that. It was a transformative piece, and there were several other people streaming at the same time. They just didn't like Crowder.
Okay, let's go back to Covington.
But yeah, let's go back. Sorry.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
what
So
did the
let's
kid
just-
say? Wait, he's gonna quote.
I want to
direct quote.
A direct quote from for the boy here. He said, "I am providing this factual account of what happened on Friday afternoon at the Lincoln Memorial. That's what it was called, to correct misinformation and outright lies being spread about me and my family. I'm the student in the video who's confronted by the Native American protester. I arrived at Lincoln Memorial at 4:30 p.m. I was told to be there by 5:30 p.m. When our buses were due to leave Washington to head back to Kentucky, we had been attending the March for Life rally and then had split up into small groups to do sightseeing. When we arrived, we noticed four African American protesters who were also on the steps of Lincoln Memorial. I'm not sure what they were protesting, and I did not interact with them. I did hear them directly use derogatory insults at our school group. The protesters said hateful things. They called us racist, bigots, white crackers,
Faggots.
yeah, and incest kids.
Wait. I can say it. Faggots.
Okay. They also
Okay,
taunted
guys.
on African American
He's gay.
student
You
from
can
my
say it.
school
He's gay.
by
Who's
telling
You're gay.
Who's
Here.
gay?
You
are gay.
Why are you
They also taunted an African American student from my school by telling him that we would harvest his organs.
Yeah, I saw that.
I have no idea
What?
what that insult means, but it was startling to hear.
I think it means something to do with abortion. Not gonna lie.
He goes on, and after a while, I'm gonna
Because
skip some of this.
rally, the March for Life rally, harvest their organs. They do harvest the organs of aborted babies.
Babies, yeah.
Oh.
Interesting.
So that was probably
Yeah.
that's
Messed
pretty
up
sick
stuff.
joke.
So, but later on, he says after a few minutes of chanting, the Native American protesters who I had previously noticed approached our group. The Native American protesters had drums and were accompanied by at least one person with a camera. He never interacted with this protester. I did not speak to him. I did not make any hand gestures or any other aggressive moves. To be honest, I was startled and confused as to why he had approached me. We had already been yelled at by another group of protesters, and when the second group approached, I was worried that a situation was going to get out of control, where adults were attempting to provoke teenagers. I believe that by remaining motionless and calm, I was helping to defuse the situation. I realized that everyone had cameras, that perhaps a group of adults was trying to provoke a group of teenagers into a larger conflict. I said a silent prayer that this situation would not get out of hand. And then obviously, during the protest, they're saying things like, go back to Europe and you stole our land.
Okay,
blah,
but
blah, blah.
let's touch on the one point where he said he thought standing still would defuse the situation. I don't see how he did anything wrong in that situation.
Yeah.
Because about 93.8% of people would have punched that guy in the face if he was banging that drum in there. right in their face. I
Oh,
would
I
be
don't know
one of
how
those
that guy
people.
was so
Including
patient.
me.
I would
How
have
he
taken
takes
that
them
drum and smashed it over his head, and then it would be still stuck around his neck, and it would look like a sunflower. Like, get out of my face, dude! What are you doing?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you can't turn away because then he wins, and it's not about it's not just about winning, but the guy's a douchebag. This Indian guy.
Yeah.
He was
You
doing it to a
don't do
kid.
that to exactly. You don't
kid.
do that to a kid.
Yeah.
He's
if I
like
was-
80 years old. Not 80, but he's probably like a good 60 to 70 years old.
And on social
What
media,
is wrong with you? You're a child.
And on social media, they were saying, well, he was just standing his ground, and the left was all like, well, isn't standing your ground kind of aggressive?
It's racist.
When I read that, I was on the 25th
Holy
floor
Stephen
of my
Fry.
office building, and my jaw went through all 25 floors into the parkade.
I was there. I can confirm it.
They're still fixing the damage. I said when I read that, I was on the 25th floor of my office building, and my jaw went through all 25 floors.
Oh,
Never mind.
okay.
You ruined the joke, Jacob. You ruined the joke.
It's a
I
terrible
didn't explain
joke.
a joke. God damn it.
I think you said I fell off some floors.
As soon as you start explaining a joke, you lose.
But yeah,
No.
Phillips, fine.
But yeah, it's absurd. It's aggressive to stand your ground. They're only saying that because he's white.
And the thing
Yeah,
is,
if
like,
that was a
reason.
black guy, or a woman or
Yeah,
anyone else,
we
they
did
would
the
have
right
been
thing. We did the right thing. They stood their
so
ground.
brave.
So brave.
And
What
it
a
is
courageous
brave, by
hero.
the way. That kid was probably like, "Oh my goodness,
He did
this
the right
guy
thing.
might kill me," or something.
well, the thing is, like,
Punch
they
me in
always.
the face.
The thing is, they always try to pull the victim card too. Even I don't know if you guys know about the humongous thing that
Yeah, yeah,
happened,
yeah.
but she started.
What did you call me?
This lady started yelling, "Oh, this white man started attacking me," and he's like, "Actually, I'm Hispanic," and then she's like, "Oh, this man started attacking me." And now it's like you're
They're
always looking for
grasping.
something to get on. And this,
Yeah.
do you know, you have to go so far out of your way to find the truth now. It's ridiculous. You have to look, and the thing is, you
On
also
DuckDuckGo.
yeah.
In fact,
Remember,
I have-
You have
sponsorship
to
is
sort
open.
through all of this stuff because I'm not saying that, by the way, guys, I'm not saying that everything that is on the liberal media is wrong. That'd be silly.
But it is.
Not all of it.
100% everything. Like, it's
And-
gonna be sunny. It might rain today. Oh, that's wrong. The line.
Okay, let's wrap this up.
Just try
I
the
mean,
liberals there.
how do you
It's not raining. It's not. It was never going to rain.
Water is falling from the sky. That's not rain.
What's it called again when you study weather? Those scientists are
Meteorology.
stupid. They're like, oh, by the way, we know that global warming will end the Earth in 50 years, but we can't tell what the weather will be tomorrow.
That was 50 years ago, by the way.
Like the politicians and the economists, these are the only three professions that you're actually paid to fail.
Repeatedly, yeah. Okay, so anyway,
yeah, I
Mega
do
Hat.
have-
Yeah, what's up?
Where were the adults? Where were the adults? Like, I watched the video, and the adult did not come up. The teacher did not come up and handle the situation. It was all up to that kid.
Right, but that's crazy. And, like, to tie it off, I guess.
I would have told if I was an adult
The
there, I would have told
teacher may
teacher
not
no.
have been there though, because he said they got there at 4:30 and the bus was leaving at
Oh, they were
5:30.
late.
The teacher may have been sightseeing or with other students
Or, I mean,
somewhere
not
else
late, but
or
they
whatever,
were
right?
there
I don't know. They're
That's possible.
teenagers.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
Who
really
knows?
think you need to watch over them.
But they completely, like, all the mainstream media jumped on this. They completely skewed the story. And when they was proven wrong, they didn't even retract.
No, they actually dug deeper with the whole blackface, with the whole gay thing. Yeah,
Yeah, so
Gay
totally
thing.
biased.
Anyways, let's move on. I think.
I do have a list.
Oh,
A list.
A list.
And that's the end of part 1 of Media Bias. If you want to hear what James's list is all about, you're going to have to click the link in the description that will take you to part 2. See y'all there.